Hey folks, welcome into Pro Football Ireland, presented by 888 Sport, the official betting partner of the NFL in Ireland and the UK. Michael McQuaid with you today. Sort of a non sort of scheduled podcast, but I feel like it's important to at least address this and speak to this with Michaela. Michaela, first off, before we start chatting about this big story, good to see you again. Public acknowledgement. Thank you very much for coming down on Sunday. It was great crack to see you again, and you're still repping your Raiders.
Yeah, I promise I did watch this. It's just the only jersey I have here, so I just wanted to wear it today because it was nice and bright out, wasn't rainy, so I just wanted to rep my NFL gear, and that's the only one I had in this house.
As a Broncos fan, I can't compliment you on the jersey choice, but I certainly admire your numerous NFL jerseys. In terms of before we get into this, folks, for people on the podcast, hi, for people watching live as well. If you're watching live, feel free to drop a comment. And if you're here, I'm very impressed if you are, because we're only on YouTube at the minute. We're not even on X or Twitter or whatever Elon wants to call it. Jeff Reinbold Tour, Derry, Belfast, Limerick, Cork, Dublin, this January and February. Linktree linktr.ee/NFL Ireland. All the tickets. Dublin's about to sell out. Head us up at NFL Ireland on all social if you're interested. Let's get into the main news. Wow, where do we start here, Michaela? I mean, like, obviously the big story is Aaron Rodgers is out for the season. I feel like that is not doing that storyline justice, because last night, well, first off, obviously the big storyline obviously is Rodgers is out for the season. He has a torn Achilles. He had an MRI last night and another MRI this morning. Sorry, he had an X-ray last night and MRI this morning. And after 4 snaps in New York, his time in New York for this season at least is done. Michaela, I guess just first off, I was always going to watch last night's game live, but it's funny because you've got people in Ireland, especially Ireland, UK, Europe, wherever people are listening to this. You had that cohort of, I'm watching this live, or I'm going to watch it or see what happens when I wake up. So you've had people that witnessed this happening last night and people that woke up to the news this morning. And I guess for people that woke up to the news this morning, and if people aren't aware, obviously yesterday was 9/11. It's always emotional in New York around 9/11. Never mind the fact that it was the first time since 1987 that a stadium in New York hosted 2 consecutive primetime games over 2 nights. And Aaron Rodgers obviously didn't play in the preseason, has his big debut, and the fact that the Jets have been waiting a long time for a big player is one storyline, Michaela. But he runs onto the field with the American flag. The atmosphere was pretty special. Like, I was sitting there like at 20 past half 1 in the morning going, this is going to be great. I'm looking forward to this. Finally, Michaela, he has, not that he has no excuse, but he's got a very, very good defense, an offense that he sort of crafted there a wee bit and mixed and match. And there's expectations going up against Buffalo. Buffalo start the game, and Rodgers comes out, and within 4 snaps, it's over. As a fan, first and foremost, I'm really gutted, because like he's 38, 39 years of age, and is that the last time we've seen him? There's so like one different movement, one different play, this wouldn't have happened, and now it's over. What did you think when you seen it this morning?
Yeah, I didn't stay up to watch it. The first thing I did this morning was I Googled the results because both you and myself said that the Jets would win. So I wanted to see if I was right in that sense. And then I was about to go and check Rodgers and Allen's stats. And then I saw that he went down on his 3rd or 4th play the whole game. And once I heard it was the Achilles, I just thought to myself, that's him done for the season. Once you hear Achilles or once you hear knee or ACL, their season's over. And I went on to Twitter. I'm not going to call it X. I went onto Twitter and saw that the video, and you can literally see his Achilles or part of his leg just pop when he went down. And I think if anyone saw that, they'd probably be like, okay, that's him done. It's really unfortunate. I think the Jets finally got a guy and a team that, now I didn't think they would have done it this season, but I did think they were potentially going to perhaps get to the Super Bowl in the next couple of years with Rodgers. And just the fact that everyone was really excited. Everyone was really hyping them up. I do really feel sorry for Jets fans because they probably just feel like they're the most unluckiest team in the world, them and the Browns. You draft Zach Wilson at number 2 and he didn't pan out that well, and you bring in arguably one of the best quarterbacks ever in Aaron Rodgers, and that happens to him on the third or fourth play. You'd have to think that the New York Jets are cursed, but it is a
Oh,
very real. There is a very real chance that this injury is just so bad that he could retire because he's 39 years of age. He's nearly hitting
yeah.
40. He probably had 2 or 3 years left of him max. I don't think he's going to go the length of Brady, and just that's one of the worst injuries you could get. So my friend even said to me, "Wouldn't it be so funny if he retired?" I think if he retires after this season because of that injury, the New York Jets are cursed.
And I think first off, I seen Luke commented live. We're just on live YouTube before we go to our podcast, folks, saying you have to have sympathy for Salah and the Jets fans. I mean, whenever Salah's face went like that, and I'm putting this up to the screen right now, I think it just knew. And I think Joe Buck and Troy Aikman sort of knew. And I seen Peyton Manning's reaction and Eli's reaction on the Manning cast, and Michaela, it's such a pity because like the night was, it was like, oh my god, the football's back, it's back, and like I know it was back on Sunday, but it was like this is brilliant. It's Monday Night Football. Like Aaron Rodgers is going to play in New York, Josh Allen, the Bills, who's going to, oh my god, and yeah, I think I'm more gutted now thinking about it, but I think because it's been confirmed in the last hour, it's like, oh my god, he's actually done, and we might not see him play again. Just lucky to have seen Rodgers play. I seen him play in London last year. Seen him play in Baltimore actually a couple of years ago. Now I think about it, and just he's a guy that's really grown on me, especially in the last few months with Hard Knocks, and just to sort of see how he's developed in New York. You, I guess, you immediately have to turn and sort of discuss around Zach Wilson, Michaela. Like Wilson was almost given a 2-year buy at the minute in the sense of he was not going to see the field unless there were certain trick plays or if there was an injury, and he was going to be given the opportunity to sit back and not relax, but sit back and learn from one of the best quarterbacks to do it. And you think now, what's going through his mind? Like that is, it's amazing how much the season can change. But the reality is, though, this is still a team with Sauce Gardner in the defense, never mind the other guys. Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Ronald Cobb, guys on the offense that can make plays. Um, Brees Hall, Dalvin Cook. They've got a great run game as well. So I think I seen Mark's power rankings this morning. He has him like 14th or 15th. I can't see them going the next step with Zach Wilson, but certainly it will be intriguing to see how they challenge because you look at how the teams in the AFC performed over the weekend. I mean, we were there and we seen um, how certain teams played across the NFC, especially. But I think we just left the woolshed together when it's a pity we didn't get to watch that game together. Like that Dolphins Chargers game was a classic. I loved it, but it's a real baptism of fire for Zach Wilson now. But he's going to have to embrace it. The team's going to have to get behind him. And that being said, though, I couldn't imagine what it's like to be a Jets fan at the minute because this is really, it's a bummer. Like it, and that's like I'm thinking what fans think. What do the players think? Like they were like the equivalent going to Vegas for the Super Bowl this year, the equivalent of going into the MGM and putting every chip on the table. They were all in, and within a minute and a half, it was all over. So I'm gutted now. I'm getting myself down, Michaela. Cheer me up, please. Tell me Zach Wilson's going to win the MVP as well.
I actually think it was very unfair of the Jets to draft Zach Wilson and then only give him 2 years. And then even kind of last year, Mike White was getting a lot of hype and stuff as well. I think it was very unfair of the Jets to draft him second overall and only give him, what did he get, like a year and a half play. You don't do that. Like Trevor Lawrence is going into it. They're going into their third year. I think those players, if they're drafted that high, they need like 3 full years, regardless of injuries and stuff like that. They do need to have 3 full years under the belt to see what they're like. And I just think it's very unfair of the Jets. Like I know it's Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that, but I'm kind of like, you drafted a guy second overall. Like that was a waste of a pick if you're bringing in someone like Aaron Rodgers, because realistically, you're not going to be able to afford Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers when it comes to the end of Zach's rookie deal. So, it was going to be good for him to learn behind Rodgers. I think he did learn a little bit behind Rodgers already during the preseason. But I think you know this could go well for Zach Wilson. If I was the second overall pick and I only had 2 years in the league, and they brought in someone like Aaron Rodgers to take my place, and I didn't even really get a full chance, I would be, first of all, I'd be furious. But now that this has happened, this is his opportunity to show the Jets organization and the Jets fans that they never should have brought in Rodgers, and they should have trusted him and let him be their franchise quarterback. So I think this could light a fire under him, and I think he could possibly go ahead and have a good season now.
Yeah, he's got a 4-year deal. Zach Wilson with a 5-year option. I think Rodgers has got a 2-year deal from memory. I'll just confirm that. Folks don't have it on me. Apology. I'm nearly certain it's 2-year deal. I agree with you, but I would say, and this goes for every team outside of 4 or 5 teams in the league, maybe 6 at a stretch. If Rodgers becomes available, I'm going on to get him. If I'm close, I'm going, because he'll bring me over the line. That if I'm a GM or I'm a head coach, that's what I'm thinking, because I have no doubt that Bill Belichick done whatever he could to try and get him in New England.
Okay,
This
but
offseason.
you're saying that you'd put all your chips on the table to bring in Aaron Rodgers. That's the case. Why does he only have one ring? It's not like going out and getting
The teams
Brady like
around
the
him,
Bucks did.
the teams around him, like Tom Brady, for years kept taking cuts and letting the Patriots bring in not mid to high end players around him, which allowed the Patriots to become a force and a dynasty. And some of the players that they had in different Super Bowl winning teams, guys like Danny Amendola, who, when they went to different teams, didn't have much of an effect as they had for the Patriots. I mean, for me, it's like, this was Rodgers' redemption shot at getting the second ring. And like, look, Peyton Manning only got 2 rings, and he had some incredible teams in Indianapolis. Like, on paper, like, not to start comparing different guys, but like, look, Rodgers is one of the best to do it, especially in the modern era. So for me, it's like, well, if I'm close and I've got a 38, 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers who we can get in and we can embed into this team quickly, I go with that, because at the end of the day, like, everyone gave the Rams stick 2 years ago for going all in financially. Drafts, it works. They have a ring to show for it, and no matter how bad the next 3, 4, 5 years might be, they're there. So that's certainly what I would say. But it shows you, and it's I guess it's a fair point as well. Nothing's ever guaranteed in this league, and it's like, you bring in Rodgers, and like, I had picked him to go to the Super Bowl and lose. Like, I thought they'd go far, and a lot of people thought they'd go far. I was watching on ESPN's pregame last night. 4 out of 5 picked the Jets to win the game because of Rodgers. Alex Smith, former Chiefs quarterback, former Washington quarterback, said that he thought that they'd win it all this season. He was impressed with how Rodgers had handled himself. So look, it's a massive pity. I guess one of the bigger things that we could talk about, Michaela, before we do bounce here, is just the field surface. I mean, like, one of the great things, not to single out a stadium, I'm just singling out because it's the closest one to us, but the Tottenham Stadium for the NFL is artificial turf. Whenever we were at the Vikings Saints game, I think it was Justin Jefferson in the press conference and said he wasn't that happy with the surface, the playing surface, and he thought that, natural grass was the way to go. Rodgers was due to play 14, 15 games this year on artificial turf at the age of 38, 39. It makes you think, I know me and you have never played on artificial turf or grass, but there's definitely a difference. And if players are calling for, grass to be brought in instead of artificial turf, you'd think in a sport like the NFL, where they're jumping up and down, the defensive players are on the ground, there's guys getting sacked flat out, you would think that they would just have maybe a more safer playing surface. Or surely after this, when you've got one of the most high profile players being out for the year, you would think that maybe they could look into it a wee bit, because I don't think that would have happened on natural grass last night.
No, no, I have to be honest. We wouldn't really know the difference kind of between grass and artificial turf. But you've heard loads of injuries over the last couple of years, being like turf toe. Mahomes had that last year, but there was one of the Green Bay Packers offensive linemen said that he made a very good point in saying that for the FIFA World Cup that's being held in America, Canada, and Mexico, that the NFL stadiums are taking out the artificial turf and putting in grass for the World Cup for soccer. So he was kind of saying, if they can do that for soccer for a couple of months, why can't they do it for the NFL players for the whole season? Because I think it's unanimous now that every NFL player and coach just wants to play on grass, and I just don't. Maybe they think it's too hard to maintain and grow, and they have to, cut it and spray paint it more, maybe, and light. They have to have sunlight, has to have water. But if Premier League teams can do it, and basically every country can have amazing stadiums that have grass surfaces, then America and the NFL can do it. I don't know why they're not doing it at this stage.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's enough money. I guess the one thing, look, I mean, obviously I can't compare it. I've played soccer on both surfaces. I don't like playing on AstroTurf. I don't like playing on artificial surfaces at all. It's not the same. And when you go down the field, it's awful. Don't like it. Michaela, I'm gutted. I am gutted. I'll just read out very quickly from a member of our Simon Kennedy. Met Simon in Belfast a few weeks ago. Big Jets fan. Absolutely gutted. Still feeling positive in every other area of the team, but we're primed to mount a serious challenge and need an elite quarterback right now. Look, this is Wilson's team. I've seen a lot of people, Michaela, talk about bringing Matthew Stafford in, but it's clear that it's going to be Wilson's team going forward. But I guess for fans listening to this, it's sad. I'm gutted. I hope Rodgers comes back. None of us have a clue what's going to happen, but something tells me the dog in him's like, I'm coming back. I'll give it one more go. Why not? Like, he's nothing else to be at apart from sit in the darkness. Surely.
Now, he did say he wants to play as long as Brady, though, as well. But I think Brady didn't really have that serious of an injury this late in his career, so I think he will come back. I think he'll be fine because, you don't win the MVP so many times in a row and be one of the best quarterbacks in the league and not have a bit of kind of grit to you and strength. You have to be a tough guy mentally and physically to play that long in that league. Some players don't even last 1 or 2 years. So for a quarterback who's getting hit a lot to be, at the age of 39 like he is and be still playing, I think he'll be fine. I think it'll just take a lot longer for his body to heal from this injury, but I think he'll be back next year.
I'm going to make a bold pick as well. I think he'll be back next year. I hope so, and hopefully they put him on Monday Night Football again against the Bills next year, and we can have his debut part 2. Hopefully, as I think any NFL fan will want to see Rodgers give it one last go in New York, and who knows, we've now got another year of build up. And
isn't that so depressing saying one last year in New York and he hasn't even played a full game in New York yet? It's Jets. It's like it's not their fault, but they're just so unlucky.
You think Michaela as well of the way that he walked out of Green Bay, and obviously it was left on decent enough terms between both now, and both have moved on. They're happy, but him and Cobb walking out of Lambeau in that iconic moment, and now this. So yeah, it's Mr. Tuck Your Soul, lovely YouTube name. But coming back from injury at 39 is unheard of. It is. So time will tell. We'll see what happens. I got a bounce. Michaela, thank you so much for jumping on, and it was great to see you on Sunday. I'm excited to watch week 2 this week, and I know we're going to be chatting some absolute belters on Sunday. We've got our week 2 preview coming up later on in the week, and yeah, just really excited for week 2 coming up, folks. Our picks podcast, Michaela with 888, is out on Friday morning. Interested to hear your picks in the next few days. Very interested to hear your picks. I might pick the Jets this weekend for the crack. But look, I will chat to you soon, Michaela, and we're presented by 888 Sport, folks, the official betting partner of the NFL in the UK and Ireland. Chat to you soon.